Okay, I'm going to go ahead and start the recording. So thank you for joining us. We are here with, is it Jana or Jana?
It's Jana, like a Y.
Oh, okay, Jana Barnett. And we're going to be discussing Practice Panther and how she uses it in her practice. This is being recorded, so tomorrow I will upload to YouTube, so you'll have a chance to review if there's anything that you missed. We can take questions as we go along or at the end. Probably it'll last anywhere between 45 minutes and to an hour. It just depends on how many questions that people have. So I used to use Practice Panther, so I'm kind of excited to see what changes they have made since I used it, which I think was maybe 3 or 4 years ago. So yeah, go ahead and introduce yourself, Jana, and let's take it away.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Regina, for having me today. I wanted to volunteer for this because I know that I use Practice Panther a lot, and it seems like not a lot of people use it, maybe for various reasons. But I kind of just wanted to show what I use it for. I have been a practicing attorney for 2 years, but I was a family law paralegal for about 10 years before I got my license. So I am very well versed in different types of practice management softwares that we've used throughout the years. What works, what hasn't worked. I think I might have a little bit of a unique perspective because of my age. So I'm 27, and I'm always about what the newest technology is, what's the most efficient. But I'm also I work with a lot of people who are much older than me. So I have to utilize practice software that works for every generation and every technology savvy or not type of people. So that's one of the reasons why I use Practice Panther. So let me go ahead and share my screen. Okay. So this is the homepage for Practice Panther. There is a security or like a privacy setting over here. I have it on privacy mode right now, only because I don't have a demo account set up. This is my personal account. But otherwise, all of this would be lit up with how much money is not billed yet, how much money is sitting, how much money is due from all of our clients combined, how much money is sitting in our operating account, how much money is sitting in our trust account. So that would usually be all lit up, but I do have it on this privacy setting, so you can kind of just see when I click it on and off, it lights up and it's all colored and everything like that. It also shows how much is as far as how many hours I have put in, how many annual hours, monthly, weekly, and how many hours I put in today. I practice mostly family law. We do some bankruptcy and some personal injury, but most of our cases are family law, and we do utilize an hourly billing system. So hours are something that that's important in our practice software. So this is the homepage when you log into Practice Panther. So it kind of gives you you have the ability to do all of these tasks, make a new matter, a new contact, a new task, anything that you want right from here, but you can also click this drop down menu and have all of those same options available to you here. There is also the recent activity. So we have several users. There's myself and one other attorney, and then we have 3 paralegals that all have their own users on Practice Panther. So this kind of gives you a highlight of what is available on and what has recently happened on everything, who has been billing for things, when a payment reminder has been sent out. This is basically what's happened in the last 24 hours or so. There's also the calendar right here. There is an integration available for Practice Panther for Outlook and Google Calendar. So you can integrate your other calendars into your Practice Panther calendars. I don't use that feature only because I would probably be the only one in my office who would use it, and it doesn't work unless everyone uses it. But otherwise, if you integrate it, if you have something on your calendar, then it would light up with a little blue highlight on each thing if you have something due or if you have something scheduled for that day. Also, it has my agenda. So these are all of my things that are going on right now. I can click complete as they go through, but I have workflows associated with all of my cases. So I have everything right here available as far as what's overdue, what's due today, what's due tomorrow. And if there were other things due this week, then it would come up on here as well. So that's basically the home page. the first thing that you see whenever you log into Practice Panther. It gives you a very good overview of everything going on. So from here, I can click my contacts or my matters, and I can go through all of the cases. But if I'm just looking for a case for one client in particular, then I can search it right here. So I did make a demo client right here. So I can search that person. I just have it set. It says John Doe. Okay, so I can turn this privacy setting off. So this is a client that I just made just for this seminar. So this is the client info right here. You have all of their contact information, their email, their phone number, their address, everything. Practice Panther does have a client portal available. You can share documents through it. You can, between your clients, you can, they can pay their bills, they can see their invoices, they can send documents through it. I mean, everything is available through the client portal. I do have my client portal enabled on all of my clients. I use it mostly for invoicing. I have some clients that prefer to use it as like a secure messenger. But I don't use it for the document sending, only because I don't have it integrated with my Dropbox. I could, I just haven't utilized that feature yet. So that is an integration that Practice Panther does allow for. It has integration with Box, and it has integration with Dropbox. So both of those things can go through Practice Panther. And if you have documents available, they would all be under this file tab right here. So this is the client itself. You can have as many matters associated with the client as you want. So when you click on matters, it'll populate all of the matters you have associated with this client. I made 2 matters for this just so you guys can get a different idea. So I have this guy's imaginary divorce, and I have his estate planning. It shows how each one is billed. So this one I have it set on an hourly billing, and this one I have it as a flat rate. So you can see that this flat rate, I put it in as a $1,000 flat fee, is set in the billable because I haven't billed it out, haven't invoiced it to the client yet. I'll show you guys how that works. And then this one, he's made an imaginary payment of $3,500. And as my office puts time in for this case, it'll show up under this billable section, and it'll automatically bill out of this operating account, or it can transfer money to and from the trust account that way. It does give you the ability, if you want to make a new matter and you have a different way of billing for whatever reason, it does have all of those options right here. So you can do contingency fees if you're doing personal injury for these cases, if you're doing a special hourly rate, a custom hourly rate, if it's a friend or family member that you decide to give a discounted rate, which I don't recommend, horrible idea, but if you wanted to do that, then you can set it up right here. And then you can put what the matter name is. If you have a statute of limitations or something like that, all that information can be filled in here. And then you can put who this is assigned to. So my cases I have assigned to myself and my paralegal. The other attorney has the cases assigned to him, his paralegal. Sometimes we have them assigned to everyone in the office depending on how big the client is. So that's something that's good. The originating attorney option too, I can drop down and click whoever originated this account or this client, which is great for being able to track who brought in those clients. So that's good for them as well. So
I have a question about the flat fee option. Does it allow you, instead of, because as a flat fee, I don't charge one amount for the whole case. So does it allow you to say you charge a flat fee on this date and then a flat fee on this date, on a flat fee on this date, or is it just one amount and you have to sort of add it up?
Absolutely. So if so for these cases in particular, like estate planning, I'm just charging a flat rate. When the case is done, it's done. But for your situation, whenever you do flat fees based on progression throughout the case, when you click on that matter, you can go here and you can click flat fee, and you can add as many flat fees as you want, and you can bill them out as time goes on. So there are some cases that have, like in my family law cases, sometimes I might have some things that are subject to a flat fee. So I can combine an hourly rate with certain flat fees if I want to do that as well. So it does give you lots of different options to be able to do that. So as far as once you're in a matter, So in this case, so Practice Panther is not only just a management software, it also has the full CRM. It also has the full billing software enabled in it. So I can send out my invoices right here. So I'll kind of show you guys what these invoices look like. So anything that's in the billable section is something that has not yet been billed. And you can see this client he doesn't owe any money yet, but he's about to whenever I do this invoice. So I can do the invoice, I can subject it to different types of billable items if I want, or I can just bill anything that is in this case. So if I generate an invoice for this, it'll give me kind of an overview on what it is I'm about to bill. I'm billing this flat fee that I have it set from the very beginning, but if I added other flat fees, it would be added in here as well. And then it's going to show me what this looks like. So this is my firm, what we have set forth as far as our template. Practice Panther does give you the option to customize these templates for the invoices and how they look. So this is just how ours is made. So in this case, it shows them exactly what they're being billed for. If they have any outstanding balance, which in this case is $1,000. And then I have mine is customized that I show how much money is sitting in trust and how much is in their retainer. If they have been paying on an hourly basis. So I can send this right from here to the client. It gives me this option to click send, and it'll send them an email. And I have the ability to kind of change this template for what it looks like. When it gets sent to a client, they get this link right here that says, click this invoice, blah, 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 to pay. As soon as they click that, I get a notification that they have viewed this invoice, which is really helpful for me because I happen to have a lot of clients who say, oh, I never got that invoice. I have no idea what you're talking about. I can see that they have already viewed it just by the amount of times that they have clicked on it. I can see how many times they have viewed it. So I know if these clients are getting these invoices or not. I have some clients who they never make a payment, but I see that they've never opened an invoice. So maybe I have the wrong email, or maybe I know that this is a client that I probably need to mail this to. So that might be an option as well. So that's super helpful. I really like that option available in Practice Panther.
Do you use their, sorry, I was going to ask, do you use their, because they have their own payment system, right? Like Panther payments or something?
Yeah. So
okay.
They used to be integrated with LawPay.
Right, yeah.
And I really like LawPay, and I actually found that LawPay for our firm, for what we were using, LawPay's their options for their fees were much better than the Practice Panther ones that were available, but that could have just been by the number of credit cards we were running or the types of credit cards we were running or whatever. So I have not switched over to Practice Payments, or I think it's what it's called, Practice Payments. I haven't switched over to that yet, but some people might find that it's different. I don't know how fast that is to be able to, how fast people get their payments if they use Practice Payments, but I've always used LawPay, and as far as I know, they're still integrated with LawPay. So I believe that they still have the option of using either.
Right. And I think you can always, people always ask about integrations. And I do, if you like LawPay, you don't have to honestly worry about it if it integrates with anything, because you can do it yourself. It's not that hard. So you can do, because I saw when you send out your invoice, there's like a sort of a custom, hey, here's your invoice, pay it. You can add whatever you want to it. So you can add a link that goes to LawPay. So when they get their invoice, they can just click on the link and pay through LawPay. So you don't necessarily need LawPay to tightly integrate with any practice management system when you can just input a link into anything, any email that you send on your portal, on your website, in your email signature, just have a link to LawPay, and then you don't have to enter your data into all these different systems, and it's linked without being integrated.
Right, exactly. So LawPay definitely still works. I mean, it's always worked for us. The reason that I like it a lot, that it does integrate into Practice Panther, is because if someone makes a payment, clicking on those links, it automatically updates in Practice Panther. So I don't ever have to go through all of my LawPay payments and then put them into Practice Panther. But either way would work, honestly, because I'm sure that Practice Payments is great for some people. I just haven't switched over yet. So once you are done sending the invoice, you'll see that that amount is no longer billable, and now it's shown how much is due. So that big red block is something that's really helpful for us whenever we're going through, from scrolling through all of my matters. Everyone who has a big red block, those are the people that I have make sure that my office manager is following up with, make sure that payments are made and stuff like that. This is honestly one of the reasons why I started using Practice Panther as opposed to maybe my case or something like that, was that it's really appealing to the eye, which sounds so dumb for a reason to choose a practice management software. But again, like I was saying before, I have to, whenever I was choosing a practice management software, I had to make sure that I was choosing a software that works for everyone in my office. And I'm the youngest by far. I'm 27, and the oldest person in my office is 58. I need to make sure that everyone in the office can use this. So big buttons that are color coordinated are fantastic for people who aren't, maybe can't see as well, or just aren't as well versed in these things. And the big buttons, you know, this big green button that says new, the name big on the top, not a super busy page with a lot of words on it or anything like that. I mean, I can even hide this sidebar and it makes it even simpler. That's one of the big reasons that I use Practice Panther. I've tried some other demos on different practice management softwares, and just the monotone of the colors, or maybe the small bars with like the names on it for each of the little tabs and everything. This is the reason that we went through with Practice Panther. We found that it was really user friendly, and it was really helpful for people to use who might not otherwise be really well versed in practice management software. So
yeah, I agree. It's definitely the prettiest out of all of them. It is.
So, and it wasn't even like, you know, I have to make sure that it works for everyone, because if one person isn't utilizing it properly because they can't figure out how to use it or something like that, it backs up my entire process in the firm, and I have to fix things and stuff like that. So I make it as easy as possible. All right, so we'll go into, I'll go over the integrations a little bit, because I know, Regina, you said, and I agree, that there's a lot of people who are really concerned about what integrates with Practice Panther, what doesn't integrate. Although for me, it doesn't really matter. I don't use all of the integrations. I know that a lot of people are interested in that. So I just pulled up their integrations on their website. So there are plenty of automation softwares that are available. You can see Wealth Council, I know a lot of people use for estate planning. Zapier, I know a lot of people use there. There's tons of Zaps available between Practice Panther and some other things. Lawmatics, I know a lot of people use that. So Outlook, Gmail, MailChimp, these are the document storage places I mentioned that a lot of people use. So there's tons of different, and this is all available on the Practice Panther website. I don't even use like half of these, not even close to half of these, but they're all great. QuickBooks is something that I haven't utilized yet, but I think I'm going to, and I think this is really helpful for a lot of people because they use QuickBooks, and the fact that it integrates with Practice Panther is something that will save people a lot of time. So
I hadn't heard of Connect. If you scroll back up to Connect, I didn't hear about Connect until today, when the owner just kind of emailed me and wants to do a webinar on it. And I was trying to figure out the value to it, but now I see what it is. So Connect is texting from your firm's landline. I can do that with Dialpad, but it also doesn't integrate with anything because I don't need it to, because I'm not using a traditional practice management system. But I think Connect has integrations with all of the major platforms. So if you don't have integrated texting within your system, you can hook it up with Connect and text your clients from your landline number, and that information is synced into Practice Panther. So that's what that is. So it sounds pretty cool. So if you want to use texting and you want it to be integrated, and then you get automatic billing, that's what it does.
Yeah, and that's a somewhat new integration. I want to say that was within the last maybe 2 months or something like that. So I have heard that people are finding a lot of value in that. So those are the integrations. That is available on the Practice Panther website. I believe it's under solutions or something like that. but oh yeah, practice management and then integration. So that is great for that. So does anyone have any questions so far before I go farther? If it's about the invoicing ability or the integrations or anything like that? No? All right, perfect. Okay, so we'll go over these tabs a little bit. So I mentioned that one of the things that I rely heavily on is workflows. So I have created my own workflows within Practice Panther that are useful for me and for what I do. So if you go down, if you're on a client, for example, and you click this, big green new button, it gives you the option to apply a workflow. So depending on what the case is, I have different ones, contested divorces or uncontested cases, depending on if my client's petitioner or the respondent or whatever. I have all that stuff saved already, and it will automatically set up these tasks like you were seeing down here that need to be completed. And I can assign them to myself. I can assign them to other users. So for my paralegal, for example, so she gets notification if I assign her new task. So you can see that these are all the tasks I've already assigned as part of the workflow. And most of them have this conditional status on it. That means that it is conditional on something else being completed first. So I usually filter it by this not completed status. It'll just come up on what needs to be done now. So you can see with this fake client, I have that client retained today. And the first thing that I need to do is I need to email the paralegal introduction letter. Hey, this is your paralegal, blah, 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 here's your email. And then whenever I've completed that, then I will click that and another one will come up that says email new client letter. So now my paralegal gets the notification that, hey, you need to send this client a list of whatever the mandatory disclosure documents or financial documents, or we need a copy of their driver's license or whatever. That will automatically get sent to my my paralegal, and she has however many days or hours to complete that. So in this case, I have 2 business days for that to be completed. And so again, once we draft the initial pleadings, I'll complete that, and a new task will come up for it to be done. So that's one of my favorite things to utilize in Practice Panther. I know that there's a lot of practice management softwares that have that available to them. So Practice Panther is also one of them. And it certainly helps us automate our firm a lot more, making sure that cases are streamlined and nothing falls through the cracks. Another thing is intake. So I have intake forms with all of my clients whenever they retain. I very rarely meet with people in person anymore, so they don't fill out paper intake forms. And even if they did, I would email this to them before they ever met with me. So I can send them an intake form. I have several different ones set up, depending on what type of case it is, via email. Once they fill out the intake form via email, any information that I don't have already filled out in their contact will automatically do whatever they fill out in that intake form. So if all I have for John Doe was his mobile phone number, but he fills out on the intake form his work phone number, that'll get filled in right here whenever they've completed that intake form. Most of the time, I don't even have a client set up whenever someone decides to retain me, so I don't even fill anything out. What I do is I email them the intake form. Once the intake form is completed, it gets sent back to Practice Panther, and Practice Panther will create the client for the first time in Practice Panther, so I don't have to fill it out at all. So,
and another way that you
helpful.
can use it, another way that you can use it, and this is the way that I used it, is you can create a link for all the intakes and give it to your answering service, which is what I did. So when someone called in, the answering service would actually fill out the intake form and it would go directly into Practice Panther, and I would get a notification. So not only was the information already there, I could just click in and call them back. So it worked as a CRM too. Or you can do it the other way, which is, once someone becomes a client, you can email it to the client and they can directly fill it out. But we found that it saved a ton of time to have the answering service fill it out on the initial call, and you can always have the client edit it. But that's a way to sort of skip a step when you're doing intakes.
Yeah, Exactly. So a lot of people have used it that way. I haven't used the CRM option as much, just because we just haven't gone into everything that this is capable of. Obviously, Practice Panther has so much stuff that's available to it that I haven't used, but it does basically have everything available to you. And notes are great. I mean, lots of practice management softwares have this. Fill it in. You have a conference or a telephone conference with a client, and everyone wants to know what that conference was about. Fill in the note. Now everyone in the office has that available to them. So that's fantastic. Some other automation stuff, there's templates available. So I have only used the templates for form letters, but I've seen lots of people use templates for actual pleading. And I think that would be great. So you can easily make a template, and you can kind of just upload a Word document, and then you can fill in whatever codes that Practice Panther gives you about you want to fill in the client's name or whatever the case is, and Practice Panther will automate that and make the template for you. Super easy, and I just haven't used all the capabilities for it. Payment plans are available, intake forms, they went over, workflows, and you can make as many of these as you want. Everything is customizable.
So another thing you can use, I was going to mention the other thing that you can use the templates for like, for example, uncontested divorces. You can send a really detailed questionnaire to your client and they fill it out, and you can automate the documents based on that. So once they fill out the form and you have it coded correctly in your template, you can just create the settlement agreement, the parenting plan, that's what we call it in Georgia anyway, child support worksheet, all that crap, based on their questionnaire as soon as they fill out the intake form, and then you can just go in and edit it. So that's another way to use it.
Yep, absolutely. So that's great. It's all available there. It's super easy to use, super user-friendly, color-coded, everything like this. Some of the other things, so Practice Panther just added this e-signature. So I've always used Adobe Sign. A lot of other people use DocuSign or PandaSign or whatever it is that everyone uses. So Practice Panther just added the e-signature option within the last 30 days or something. I haven't started using it, but it's already integrated in there. So I know some people who have started using it that they say it's just as easy as any of the other e-signature platforms. So that's available there. One of the things that I really like using Practice Panther for, and this is mostly because I spend a lot of time on making sure that our firm is efficient financially, and I want to make sure that everyone, is getting their billing in, making sure that everyone is paying, all that fun stuff. So reports is great. You can pretty much run any sort of report that you want. So productivity reports, all of that information is available to you. How much, what attorney has collected and billed over time for their time and expenses, that's all available. Anything that you want. How much A&R, so like we have some clients, for example, that maybe have a bill that's 30 days or 60 days late or something like that. We might do these reports so I can give it to my office manager so she can follow up with the people who have long outstanding balances. And so there's tons of different reports that you can pull up. Some of these might be better utilized by office managers or maybe accountants or something like that. If you have any of your bookkeeping people use these things. So these are super helpful. A lot of people, and Regina, this is something that people that utilize your type of flat fee billing arrangement in family law might use more often, is you can pull reports based on flat fees, based on how over time or over how many users or by matters or by contacts or something like that. Like these things are all super helpful information. Incompleted tasks. So if you do have tasks assigned to paralegals and you want to see what still needs to be done, all of that information is available to you right here. So that is super, super helpful. As far as anything else that you don't know how to do, one of the things that I really like about Practice Panther is that they have tons of tutorials. Going on their support page, they have FAQs and tutorials in their training videos. and their new features, you can pretty much go on here and open up any tutorial on anything that you don't know how to do. If you have a question on invoices and billing, they have 54 articles based on that. So there have so many things that are offered to everyone to figure out how to use workflows or how to best utilize all of the things that are available to Practice Panther. It is so helpful, and it's so easy to use. So that is pretty much, Regina, is there anything else you want me to go over on Practice Panther? I think I covered everything I wanted to.
No, yeah, I guess that's pretty much it. So when you're trying to pick a practice management system, I always recommend demoing all of them and see which one sort of clicks with your brain. So before I just stopped using practice management systems altogether, I think Practice Panther was my last stop because it just kind of works with the way my brain looks, and it is super colorful, but Monday is like that, like times 10, it's nothing but color. So just demo and just see what works for you, because some of them do some things better than others, and you just have to make sure the one that you're picking does the thing that you want it to do better than the others. So for example, all of them have some type of workflow or automation, all of them do, but some are just better than others, or some just do what you need it to do better than another system. So it's helpful to do a demo and to kind of ask questions, because all of them give free trials. To do a demo, ask questions, look at the kind of the knowledge base, and then just see which kind of works for you. And because I'm flat fee, I just have just completely different needs than a lot of people do in a practice management system. But if you're hourly and you really need to capture your time, practice management systems, especially like this one, are really going to help you do that. Don't they have an email integration too?
They do. They do have an
Yeah.
email integration. I just don't use it. So, but
Okay.
it does integrate with Gmail and Outlook.
Okay. Yeah, some people are really into integration and just being able to capture all their time by everything they do within the system. So that is an option. So you can link it directly to your email, and you can actually assign it to the matter. So everything is there like in the timeline. So when you're looking at the timeline, you can see phone calls, you can see emails, you can see interoffice messages, pleadings, all of it will be right there on your timeline in matters. And that's helpful for you. I guess if you have new people coming on, they need to know what's what. And I found it most helpful is, if I'm at the end of the case or someone has a fee issue or something like that, it just made it really easy for me to go to one place and just kind of print out all the stuff that I've done. So there's, if there is a fee dispute or something like that.
Yep, absolutely. Does anyone have any questions that I can answer? No?
Okay, do you have, Jana, do you have like a discount code or something like that for people?
So Practice Panther just changed. They don't have the referral codes anymore, but they do still offer the referral discounts. I just have to send an email to them into my account manager. So if anyone wants to sign up for Practice Panther, you can reach out to me and I will send you an email and copy you on an email over to Practice Panther. They will still give you that referral code. It just has to be done via email instead of through a code. So I'll put my my email in the chat right now, so everyone has it.
And I'll add it to the posting too when I post it on YouTube.
Yeah, so just send me an email and I'll be happy to link up everyone with my account manager so we can send you guys the referral code.
So I feel like for some reason, I feel like Practice Panther gets sort of left behind in the practice management systems. I don't really know why. I think Cleo does the most marketing and people are the most familiar with it. And probably next to that is my case. But when I use Cleo, I've used everything. And then I use Cleo and then I use my case. I actually found that Practice Panther was actually a little bit ahead of the curve, because some of the things that Practice Panther was doing, Cleo would just copy and do later on, and not as well, in my opinion. For example, the intake forms, Practice Panther came out with that first. That was like 2017. And I remember Cleo like made a big deal about it 2 years ago. I'm like, dude, and not only did they make a big deal about it, they created an entire new platform and made you pay extra for it. So they have all these different, They have Cleo Grow. I don't even know that Cleo Grow, Cleo Manage, and then something else. So instead of packaging it all together, they just figure they can make more money by separating it out, versus Practice Panther just has it all there, and they've had it for a while and they didn't charge extra for it because it's actually not that hard.
Yeah, no, I've definitely found that Practice Panther is probably the most reasonably priced for what it offers, because it's all packaged together. You do have to pay per user, so it does get a little expensive if you have a ton of users, but for people who are just solo firms or small firms, it is super affordable and it offers a lot of great options. It looks like LaJoyce had a question. Any thoughts about Practice Panther versus, or Practice Payments versus LawPay? So yes, I still use LawPay as an integration through Practice Panther, only because when we were weighing out LawPay versus Panther Payments, we were still getting better rates through LawPay. Yeah. And that was based on my firm in particular. And Practice Panther still gave us the option to continue using LawPay. So it looks like Regina just sent in everyone a link to a comparison for the two of them. There are probably lots of people out there that Panther Payments versus LawPay doesn't make any difference, but I think it makes a big difference based on the types of cards that you're running. I think that American Express, for example, has higher rates. So I think it just depends what you're seeing a bulk of coming through your firm. But for me, LawPay, we stayed with it. One, because we were already using it. There wasn't any reason to switch over. And it definitely was more, it was way less expensive for us. Yeah.
And if you are billing hourly, it is easier to, if you're using the built-in payment system, it's automatically going to log everything for you. So if you're billing hourly and you have a lot of clients, it's probably going to save you some time. But because I was always flat fee, I just never really had an issue. Yes, LawPay does charge $2 for e-checks. I think it's $2 period, actually, for e-checks, because I've had really large e-checks cash and they didn't charge me more than $2. But if you are billing hourly and you've got a good deal of clients, it may be easier just to use the built-in payment system. And I'm the kind of person that has no problem throwing money at a problem. So even if something saves me a little bit of money, if it costs me time, I'm almost always going to choose spending money over spending time. But that's just me.
Yeah. Any other questions?
I can just say we have 8 users on our Practice Panther.
Oh, yeah.
And it's magic. We do predominantly hourly, and we also do flat fees. And sometimes we'll change a case from hourly over to flat fee. You know, it just, and we have contingency cases. And to keep track of every user, and everybody puts their own time in, and it just saves me a ton of time. And by doing that, I mean, we can very fast pull reports and see, okay, off counsel, this attorney billed this much for this month, so I need to pay out that much. I mean, Practice Panther, I can't run this firm without it.
Yeah, no, it's super great. I love it. And like you said, those reports are so invaluable. I mean, I don't know how someone like Cleo or my case or anything, or how they operate on for those reports, or if they even have them, but I know Practice Panther has made it so easy that even our office manager, who's not very technologically savvy, she can easily pull up those reports without asking for help or anything like that. And same thing, we can figure out exactly how much we need to pay out certain bonuses or counsel fees or whatever within 1 or 2 clicks of a button.
Yeah, and we integrate it with QuickBooks. So I jump on every 2 weeks with our accountant, and we just make sure that, because every once in a while there is a little bit of a glitch between Practice Panther and QuickBooks, and where an entry might have gotten entered twice or something. And we just got to, every 2 weeks, we just run through and make sure everything reconciles, but everything comes in, payments are coming in through LawPay. LawPay connects with Practice Panther. Practice Panther updates my QuickBooks.
Yeah, it's amazing.
It's magic. Yeah. So I can say.
I do think Practice Panther does payments better than the others, especially when I was using Cleo, they just kind of pretended flat fees like weren't a thing. Just frustrating. Yeah. And you couldn't do it in stages. So Practice Panther got ahead of that and realized people were doing flat fees many years ago, and they sort of implemented that in there. And then I'd swear Cleo waits until Practice Panther does something and then they just copy it. That's my personal theory, but and then
I
they do
agree.
it, and you know, eventually people catch on like, oh, this is great. But it's like, yeah, you could have done this like 2-3 years ago for what you're charging people. But that's my little
Well,
Cleo
and
high horse problem.
we recently had a fee issue where a client claimed, well, she hasn't received any of her invoices, and I sent the invoices out
Ooh.
from Practice Panther.
Yep.
And she said, well, I haven't received the invoices.
Mm-mm.
Well, I was able to go through and show in a report for her every time she opened those invoices.
Yep.
And I've had that
That's
a
always
lot.
fun.
And sometimes, and Practice Panther will tell you how many times they've opened it.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I've had some clients that they've opened this invoice 6 or 7 times, and they say, oh, I never got it. And I'm like, well,
Yep.
that's weird because you looked at it 7 times. So it is super helpful, and you just kind of get ahead of a lot of problems by just being organized.
Typically that day when the big invoices go out, i.e. this Friday, you know, I can sit back here, and once they go out, you hear bing, 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 as everybody is like looking again and again and again. This is not possible.
Yeah, absolutely. Any other questions from anyone that we can answer? Doesn't look like it. Well, if you guys do have any questions, my email is on there, and on the recording, Regina is going to include my email on there. Feel free to reach out to me on Facebook or by email, whatever. I'm happy to answer anyone's questions. I can share my workflows if anyone wants them. But Practice Panther, like Regina said, really kind of got left behind as far as people forgetting about it, even though it's been way ahead of the curve on a lot of these technology aspects. And it's way less expensive in my experience than Cleo and things like that, those bigger companies. And it is just super user friendly and super helpful. The customer service has been great. So if anyone has any questions, or like I said, wants to sign up or something, just send me an email and I will get you connected with my account manager, and then we'll get you set up.
Awesome. Well, Jana, thank you so much for doing this webinar, and I'll probably have this posted by tomorrow morning, something like that. So thank you very much, everyone, for joining us, and I'll stop the recording now.